we'd like to invite the next speaker, Dr. Najmul Laila. She is the Registrar of Cardiology, National Heart Foundation Hospital and Research Institute, Dhaka. Dr. Najmul, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Are my slides visible, sir?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're most welcome. You just start your
With your
presentation.
permission, I'd like to start. Good evening, distinguished panelists, moderators, my respected teachers, and all participants here. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Dr. Nazmul Laila from the Department of Cardiology at National Heart Foundation Hospital and Research Institute. I'll be presenting a case, complex PCI, on a high bleeding risk patient. This case was performed by our head of department and chief consultant cardiologist, Professor Fazilatun-Nisa Malik. The patient is an 82-year-old frail female patient. She had uncontrolled diabetes. She was a patient of chronic kidney disease with COPD. She was on management for chronic coronary syndrome. However, a few days back, she experienced sudden onset of acute chest pain, for which she was hospitalized at a hospital in Dhaka. Later, she was diagnosed as a case of unstable angina, and coronary angiogram was done at that hospital. Subsequently, she was transferred to our hospital for revascularization. At presentation, she had a mild LV systolic dysfunction. This was her ECG and her blood biochemical makeup. Her creatinine was at 1.9 milligram per deciliters. She had uncontrolled diabetes with an HbA1c of 8%. She had a low hemoglobin at 9.8 gram per deciliter. This was on reviewing her coronary angiogram. You can clearly appreciate highly calcified left system with almost 90 to 95% lesion of the distal left main coronary artery. And you can also appreciate there's almost a 99% lesion in the ostial circ with severe calcification. So also significant stenosis and calcification involving both the anterior left anterior descending and the ramus. This was a right coronary artery, which had a 90 to 95% stenosis in the mid segment. So her syntax score was calculated to be 33. On calculating the syntax score 2 to decide between a CABG and PCI, they were quite close back to back. The score for PCI was at 58.3%, and the score for CABG was 57.9%. Considering everything, all the scenarios, the patient was an elderly, frail patient with a raised creatinine, and she was not. She had COPD, so she was not a good candidate for a CABG. Nor was she able to take the brunt of managing both the right and the left system on the same setting. So we opted for a stage PCI. RCA was tackled first with a 3x15 millimeter drug-eluting stent. And we kept her on conservative management. For the next 2 days, we provided her with adequate hydration and optimized her drug regimen and to improve her renal status as much as we could. And we brought her back to the cath lab 3 days later, and you can appreciate her left system, severe calcification involving the left main with the left anterior descending, the circ, and even the ramus. So for plaque modification, mechanical debulking in the form of rotablation was decided on to be done. Left main circ was wide with a floppy wire, and this was later exchanged for a rotor wire. And rotablation was done with a 1.25 millimeter burr from left main to LCX. This was the view after rotablation from left main to circ. Wiring the left anterior descending was particularly difficult because of the high calcium burden. So we needed, eventually it was done with the help of a fine cross microcatheter, which has a good crossability and is very flexible. So the floppy wire was then again exchanged for a rotor wire. And rotor ablation from left main to LED was done with a 1.25 millimeter burr. On doing the IVUS, you can appreciate there's still some degree of calcification. In even 360 degree of calcification is also seen. So we decided to step up the burr to 1.5 millimeters. And these were the views after rotor ablation of both the left main to LAD and the left main to LCX. So on definition 2 trial, this was a true bifurcation lesion, Medina 111. According to the definition criteria, we had one major criteria was there was a significant side branch lesion, almost circa had almost 99% lesion at its ostium, and it was a long lesion, severely calcified. We had two minor criteria: severe calcification, multiple lesions. So this was definitely a complex bifurcation lesions. And for distal complex distal left main bifurcation lesions, double kissing crush technique is the class 2B indication. And so we opted for a double kissing crush technique. The other reason this was chosen as the bifurcation technique was that we had an elderly female patient, and we wanted to subject her to as minimal amount of contrast injection as possible. And our operator was very comfortable doing this double kissing crush technique with minimal amount of dye, using the side branch stent as the marker and meticulously following each and every step of decay crush. So we started the steps of decay crush. Pre-dilatation was done from left main to circ with a 2.5 by 15 millimeter non-compliant balloon. A drug-eluting stent measuring 2.5 by 28 millimeter was placed at the left main to circ, while a 3 by 15 millimeter non-compliant balloon was parked at left main to LAD. The circ stent was deployed. I'm sorry about that. The circ stent was deployed at 12 atmospheres, and LCX wire and balloon was removed. The LCX stent was crushed by the parked LAD balloon. Sorry. Rewiring of the circ was done with the help of another fine cross microcatheter. And this rewiring was done through the proximal strut. And we had a final kissing inflation. The first kissing inflation that was done with a 2.75 millimeter by 15 millimeter non-compliant balloon at left main to L6 and a 3 by 15 millimeter non-compliant balloon left main to LAD. Now a 3 by 33 millimeter drug-eluting stent was placed at left main to LAD, and the LCX wire was removed and used as a cuspal wire. And the stent, LAD stent, was deployed at 9 atmospheres. The stent balloon was pulled back and deflated at higher pressure, and these were the views after deployment of the LAD to left main to LAD stent and the left main to circ stent. Proximal optimization was done with a 3.5 by 8 millimeter non-compliant balloon at 24 atmospheres. And now the second rewiring of the circ with through the proximal strut. And final kissing balloon dilatation using a 3 by 8 millimeter balloon at left main to LAD and a 2.5 by 15 millimeter balloon at a non-compliant balloon at left main to LCX. And these were the views. So these were the views after our final kiss. Report was done again with 3.5 by 8 millimeter non-compliant balloon. And this was our final result, showing the central position of the neocarina and good TIMI flow in both the major vessels. She came to us after 4 months for follow-up, and this was her ECG, and we've been getting in touch with her through the telephone, and she's been well so far. Because of the pandemic, we discouraged her to come visit us directly, as frail as she was. So the take-home message is, frail elderly patients with calcified vessels and multiple comorbidities are usually poor candidates for CABG. But rotablation with a multi-vessel left main PCI can be an attractive alternative. And DK crush is a safe and effective method to tackle distal left main disease. From the entire Cath Lab team at National Heart Foundation Hospital and Research Institute, thank you for allowing me to present in this prestigious platform, And thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Dr. Najmun. Can you unshare your screen, please?
Yes, sir, I have.
Yeah. Thank you for your very nice presentation, and thanks to Fazila Madam. Probably she was the operator.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and she did it very to the utmost perfection. So this session is the case is now for open for discussion. If anybody, any panelist is anyone have any question, please forward it to Dr. Najmun. Anyone
Okay,
having
first
any
I
question?
request Dr. Bijoy Bang. Are you there, or Dr. Ojit Bhagwat? Can you unmute yourself? Okay, Dr. Arun Maski, would you like to make any comment or any question?
No, that was a fantastic case. So, I mean, there's nothing much to. So what would be what was the creatinine level before and after? And second is, what is the strategy of your DAPT? These DAPTs are very important.
Sir, at presentation, her creatinine was 1.9. And when she left the hospital, we kept her in for a few more days extra. We rehydrated her and her creatinine dropped to 1.5. So. And regarding DAPT for high risk, frail, fragile patients such as these, sir, we kept her for at least 6 months of DAPT, sir. And then she was on regular follow-up with us over the phone if she had any bleeding symptoms, GI problems. So we kept her on close follow-up during this time.
What was the drug you used? You used clopidogrel or
yes, sir.
ticagrelor?
We used clopidogrel on her, sir. Yes. Sir.
Dr. Nasir Khan, are you in screen? Dr. Nasir Khan?
I have a question, sir.
America. Dr. Nasir.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How will you counsel the patient before doing intervention of a complicated intervention in a CKD patient? How you assess the risk of dialysis and other things?
How do we counsel the patients?
Counsel before doing the procedure, because if we calculate the Mehran score of this age, there is a 15 to 20% chance to have need for dialysis post procedure. So, did you calculate the Mehran score before the procedure?
Sir, it was calculated definitely since it was done by Professor Fazila Malik. It was definitely calculated, and we also have a dialysis team standby at our hospital. So when we do such complex cases, what we do is we sit with the patients, their attendants, we sit with our cardiac surgery team, and then we explain everything to the attendants, because after all, they make the decisions on what is to be done. And
okay,
then we also tell them, sir.
Nazmun, you nicely present your case, and Dr. Momin really raised the question. Actually, in that particular case, it is not a big issue to go for Mehran score first. At least you must go first syntax score, then you go for Euro score, then you should consider for Mehran score, because it is a chronic kidney disease on the top of octogenarian lady with a complex PCI subset. You have to go for reverse question to relieve her symptoms, because you did not improve extend your life. Your primary objectives to reduce the symptoms, to improve the quality of life. Third option is try to extend her life. Anyway, that is a great presentation.
That's
and
right.
Professor Mir Jamaluddin sir add some points.
Professor Azam, that's very important. You will do the intervention first, save the life first, but you will have to prevent the complication like acute kidney injury, and that setup is in the National Heart Foundation is there,
Yes.
and that is why they have done it. But here I want to know what stent you have used, and is there any choice of a stent in high bleeding risk, and that is available in our country?
It is a SBR subset patient. Which stent you should prefer in this particular case to use antiplatelet therapy?
1 month.
1 month at least. There is a lot of trial is there, Onyx One global trial, and there is
Freedom
some
trial,
biofreedom trial. So which stent you used in this particular case?
Stent that was used was Onyx. Yes.
I see.
Onyx.
I have one query to you, sir. Very frequently, we faces many cases of CKD, those who need actual intervention, and many of the patients developed acute kidney injury may need dialysis. So that we develop a dialysis team with 2 dialysis machine.
That's it. That's it.
But such a setup in NICD now.
Before
No,
your
no.
answer, I have given the answer
Oh.
that there is a facility of dialysis in National Heart Foundation Hospital and Research Institute, and that is why they are doing this type of cases very often.
I truly agree with Dr. Ashok Dotto, as because you see pre-procedure creatinine level 1.8 or 9 like that. This is the international recommendation. If creatinine level goes up to 6 milligram per DL or if symptoms develop AKI, then you should consider for dialysis. I think that is very much, don't be too much over enthusiastic. But let face the situation, then you can take the decision. As you know, it is, if it is, you go for procedure, that may become 1.8, it may become 2.8, or it is 3 or 4, but nothing to be panic. And don't rush for the dialysis, as because you go for contrast, you just normal saline washout, then post procedure, then you may improve the situation. If getting worse, creatinine level more high, potassium level is more than 6 millimole per liter, and uremic symptom is there, then you should consider dialysis. Thank you very much.
There's one question. You should not be taking creatinine level. You should be doing creatinine clearance in these patients.
Right.
Yes,
This is
that's
the
very important.
This is the great question because 1.9 is equivalent to EGFR, mostly 45 like that.
At the age
it's
of 85, the EGFR
85.
is probably less
You
than
just
25.
go to online calculator,
Yes.
put the creatinine level, age and sex and race,
It-
then you get your EGFR status.
It-
Though it is not reflecting true scenario of EGFR, but you get the rough estimation to make your decision perfect. So now I'm requesting to switch over the next speaker, Dr. Professor Mohsin.
Yeah.
Ahmed Mohsin,
Yeah. Okay. Before I switch over, I just have a question. Ajmoon, in a high bleeding risk patient, we used to use the bivalirudin previously.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, we still do, sir.
yeah, but in this case, did you consider using bivalirudin? And
Yes,
in a
sir.
case, in a patient with a renal impairment, is it necessary to screen for a renal artery stenosis during coronary angiogram?
Sir,
Not actually, sir.
Sir, Ashok sir will answer the question.
Yes, I
Ashok
want
sir,
to
can you unmute yourself?
last 20 years, from 2006 up to 2016, 10 years over a period of time, most of the cases during angiogram, we used to do the renal angiogram on the way to the femoral root. But for last 5-6 years, we stopped it because we have seen many cases, renal artery stenosis was incidental findings. After stenting, there is no improvement of the renal function. There is no improvement of the hypertension control. So renal artery stenosis intervention become very much limited nowadays, very much limited. Only ultrasonography, if you see that kidney size is progressively decreasing, hypertension is very much poorly controlled, progressive increasement of the serum creatinine level, these 3 or 4 indication of renal artery stenosis intervention. So this is
pulmonary edema.
nowadays. So renal artery stenosis intervention with the stent, bare metal stent that we used to do, very frequently they come with restenosis. So on center in that was Professor Dr. Tejas Patel, they used to 5 millimeter onyx stent, they post dilate it with 7 millimeter balloon. So that gives the ISR very low. So bare metal stent that we used previously, that shows that frequently they come with restenosis.
So restenosis is not the only matter, sir. Acute kidney injury during procedure is aggravate the renal impairment. For that reason, the current guideline, the routine stenting of a renal artery stenosis is class 2B. And only class 2A recommendation for uncontrolled hypertension, recurrent pulmonary edema, bilateral renal artery stenosis, stenting of the single renal artery. In that case, it is only class 2A. But previous guideline in 2000 up to 2015, the guideline recommended that there was class 1 recommendation. But the recommendation is changed throughout the world. For that reason, we are not doing the routine renal angiogram and angioplasty nowadays.
Next.
Next case.
Dr.
Okay.
Ashok, still
Professor
not,
Khaled, next, আমাদের time.
Dr. Ashok, you are using bivalirudin yet?
Bivalirudin is not also class 1 indication.
Because the guidelines are downgrading the bivalirudin.
Yes, we are not using
We are
bivalirudin.
not using the bivalirudin at all in our center. You are using in our center the bivalirudin?
No, bivalirudin now I think available also.
Because Dr. Laila was telling that still using. That's why I'm telling. Because in MI setting, in SCS settings, bivalirudin doesn't have that much great role.
Yes.
Please unmute yourself.
Thank
Unmute.
you, Dr. Nazmul Laila. We switch over to the next